Hey, there
Okay.
we go. All
All
right,
right.
3, 2, and 1. Well, Administrator Steve, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. Little disappointed I don't get to meet Nick, new mayor Nick Paschal. Always love having to go back to my sports talk radio roots. A longtime listener, first time caller uh, on the program, but we understand that there was an emergency at home that he had to run out for. So we'll look forward to chatting with him a little later. But nonetheless, always great to chat with you as well about what's going on in Marshfield.
Yeah, Nick was literally in his office a half an hour ago, waiting by his computer, and then found out there was something happening at home that he really had to tend to pretty quickly.
Yes, yes, and of course, you know what they say: happy wife, happy life. So we got
That's
to
right.
get home, take care of that, and yeah, again, we'll look forward to chatting with him down the road. But first off, for you as the administrator, obviously, one of the things that you're tasked with is putting the best foot forward for the city. Making sure you secure all those developments, secure the growth of the city in the future, and I understand, like us here in Wausau, you kind of got a little bit of a dry run of that here recently with Synergy.
Yeah, it's a really interesting process that they did with us, where they wanted us right from the beginning to know that they want us to treat it like a real request for information and request for a site visit. So they bombarded us with, we need to know all these things about your utilities and everything else, and we need to know quickly, and get us that information. And we knew that to be really kept in the loop and to be able to be qualified for consideration, you have to respond at their timeline. And then
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, they set up a site visit where they came in and they pretended that there are people interested in our industrial park, and sell us on what you have. And in the middle of all our presentations, they would interrupt and say, "Look, I got some concerns about this. Now, is the wastewater going to be able to handle our needs and stuff?" And so it was a good test run for us as to how we would handle a real site selector coming from, say, anywhere in the country. I think we did well, Michael. We'll get kind of an evaluation from them in the coming days. But we learned a lot about the kind of things that somebody like that, a professional site selector, might ask.
Yeah, and I know when Wausau went through the process, they also kind of got some or are due to get some feedback about here's what we think you are prepared to handle. Are you this would be a good site for industrial? This would be a good site for storage facility, whatever that may be. That's also valuable information for you as well.
It is. And one thing about economic development, it's really changed over the years, is I think companies are more looking at the whole package of the community too. Once upon a time, it was kind of, free land in the industrial park, yay, let's go. Now it's more of, well, what kind of housing is available in your community? What kind of amenities do you have for the families who might be coming with these employees? Do you have good parks? And in our case, we have a zoo, which is nice. So putting your best foot forward is more than just the company itself locating on a property in your community. It's really, it's just a place where they want to move.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get to more about housing in just a bit. But first, a business that many might think you didn't have to sell on staying in Marshfield, but you actually did. Winebrenners. It's been about 4 years. I feel like we've been talking about this, and you just had the big grand opening for the new facility. Tell us what that moment was like for everybody in Marshfield and with Winebrenners.
It was a really exciting time out there today, Michael, and they had a good crowd. They invited a lot of people, and to celebrate the opening of that 70,000 square foot facility. But a 91-year-old, well, actually, the company overall is 130 years old or something, but located here for 91 years, and just they're so excited about the fact they've got good big space that's configured in a way that's going to be more conducive to growth. It was a wonderful thing to celebrate. And like you mentioned, it's been a long process. There were times during the process where we weren't sure we were going to keep them here. They were doing their due diligence. They had offers from other states to consider. People trying to lure them away by saying, "Hey, look, we'll give you a big incentive to come to Texas or wherever." So it was. People might not realize this. They might think, "Well, sure, they stayed in Marshfield." It wasn't always for certain.
Mm-mm. No, it wasn't. And for the employees, they're probably glad that they have air conditioning.
Oh my
Now, I
gosh.
know that was one of the things where if it got to 98, 99 degrees, they were shutting down. the lines because
Yeah.
it was just unsafe.
Well, and then the flip side, in the winter, I mean, the windows, what they were, they're single pane windows. So, I mean, it got pretty cold in there sometimes too. So they got the bad part of both ends.
Hmm. Yeah. So, what do people notice when they're driving by that facility? Because I know they've also got the retail outlet store as well.
It's exciting. When they talked about the retail component, that really grabbed our attention as well, because I mean, that brings the idea that people can walk into the facility, they can look at boots, they can actually see through the glass at the product being made. So while they're looking around and maybe making a purchase on the retail side, they can see employees working on how they make these, and it's
Hmm.
largely handmade. And I mean, it's automated and everything, but it's amazing to see how much of the work is still done by hand. And it's so cool to see it still being done in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and still being done right here in Marshfield. As for the site that they vacated, uh, things still up in the air with that too. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's been kind of a long road. Now with Weinbrenner out, we're responsible for the building. We've always owned the property. I mean, they've been leasing it from us for years. So we've taken some measures to kind of secure the building just in case there's any problems. But we are back working with Jay Jeffers, a company out of the Milwaukee area, very good developer. And their vision is affordable housing. And the price range for those units would be between like 925 and 1270 a month, depending upon one, two, or three bedroom. And they would need to partner with the city. So we're still in the early stages, but the council seems to be gravitating toward that as a vision for what that property could be. And I think it's a good one.
And everything else, as you mentioned, kind of fell through. Or I know at one point you put out a request for proposals and really kind of came up empty-handed. So this is kind of what you've settled on. You say that, and this is going to be the direction that things go.
Like you say in baseball, it's never over till the last out, right? I mean,
Oh, of course, yeah.
a lot of steps yet to go. But I think what the council found out, they really were hoping to get some other proposals to compare this with maybe higher end housing, maybe a mixed use property that maybe had a coffee shop and a gift shop and some other uses within the building. Those weren't forthcoming. We didn't hear from developers who wanted to do that. And part of the reason, to be honest with you, is because in order to absorb the cost of this development, a lot of it has to come from tax credits, and that's available to the type of housing that's being constructed. Whereas trying to foot the bill without, that kind of funding would be
Mhm.
challenging.
Yeah, I know. Obviously, myself being somebody who travels quite a bit regionally, Milwaukee, the Twin Cities, obviously, Minneapolis. There are those developments that you see. The one I'm thinking of is right by the University of Minnesota campus, right by Surly Brewing Company. Ironically enough, which I go to because I like the atmosphere and nothing else. Uh,
Yeah.
you see them there, but they are, they're 7, 8 stories high. They've got Whole Foods or something on the bottom level, and the units above. There's a large number of them that it kind of takes to make these developments work. Something like that might not always work or might not be able to be feasible, in a community like Marshfield, right?
Yeah, and that's why I think the council at first, many of the members didn't want to go the affordable housing direction. They'd seen pictures in magazines and elsewhere of properties, industrial properties in Chicago and Minneapolis and elsewhere that were turned into high-end condos or whatever. The problem is, first of all, we don't have the kind of overlook that this, I mean, it overlooks the park, Miller Park and the baseball fields and stuff on one side, but
Hmm.
also the rents that you have to get to do that kind of a project are probably not likely to occur in Marshfield, Wisconsin, where they might work in Chicago or some other community. So we tried, we made an effort, and those projects were not brought forward.
Hmm. And that's kind of where you come in, right? You're the one that has to look at the pieces of those puzzles and say, look, that it looks great, it's awesome, it might be a great place to visit, but we need to know who we are at this time in the process, right?
Yeah, I think pragmatically, you have to look at what a community can attract. I mean, that comes into other things too, like, could I call today and say I want Red Lobster to come here? Well, they're not going to come here because they're looking for a much larger market. That's not how it works. So I think knowing what can work in your community, what you can afford in partnering with a developer is part of the picture.
What does work in Marshfield though is Chipotle, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of buzz about Chipotle and coming behind it, Panda Express. Those are two very popular types of restaurants, and we're excited. Chipotle is actually building while you and I talk. Panda's had a brief hang up with some housekeeping and details they got to get to the finish line, but that looks like it'll be right behind it. And Michael, I think those will both be received very well here.
I know I've got numerous people, here in the Wausau area that were dancing in the streets when Chipotle came here. It just got that buzz around it. It's got that reputation around it. And so they were happy when we got it up here. And Stevens Point, Marshfield. So they're really looking to get a good foothold here in the region.
I think they'll fill a very good niche that we have
Hmm.
in that type of restaurant. So I think they'll be received well. The north end of our downtown, or it's not our downtown, I guess, the north end of our community is really specifically doing well, especially with the mall improvements. The Mexican restaurant up there in the mall is doing very well. And of course, we have Hobby Lobby and Ross and some of those now. So a lot of positive things have been happening commercially.
And on that note, where do you find these discussions go, especially, this day and age when so many of these retail places are either folding up, they're saying, look, we can't make it anymore. We gotta close down all the stores. You're not really seeing a whole lot of that on the north end of Marshfield, it seems. At least when I drive in every few times a year, everything around there is still bustling.
No, and I think the hope why the community, why the city in particular got involved in the mall project was, first of all, Hobby Lobby, and those are good places. But the hope is that you keep people in Marshfield on the weekend, and then while they're staying here, they go to restaurants, they go to other stores. I'll be honest with you, my wife loves Hobby Lobby, and
Hmm.
so we went to Rib Mountain, Wausau area many times just because that was a place that she wanted to go. And guess what we did while we were up there? We ate there. I bought
Hmm.
gasoline there. Everything happened there. So I think even people who don't go to these stores in the mall, the fact that they exist, is one more thing to keep them around over the weekend and not be looking for other places to go.
Absolutely. Steve, always appreciate the time here. Before we let you go, though, we got to ask the Hub City concert series well underway on Friday nights. Which act, which of those shows are you most looking forward to yet here this summer?
Well, one thing about what they've done is they've gotten different genres, which is really cool. They had a bad start with a rain out. Well, it wasn't a rain out, just
Hmm.
yours the first night. But I want to thank Visit Marshfield too, and how they partnered because Nikki Anderson moved on, and we filled the gap with Nikki helping out a little bit with Visit Marshfield. But a lot of great different kinds of music. I have to look closer on who's what nights, but they do fill up the plaza, and it's so exciting to see people on Friday night here in our community enjoying music.
Well, I know some cities that have similar music series like that. People don't even look at who's playing. They just go out of habit because it's something that they like to do. So I imagine there's a lot of people in Marshfield that do that as well. They don't have the schedule necessarily on the refrigerator. They just it's habit. They just go.
Yeah, and they get down there and they see their friends and neighbors. And they hang out, they have a bite to eat while they're doing it, and they listen to some good music for 3 hours. You can't
Hmm.
beat that on a Friday night, can you?
No, not really. Yeah, unless you got a good wood fired pizza and a beer. But
That's pretty good.
again, there I go. There I
Yeah.
go back to beer again.
Many years ago, we wanted to mimic the 400 block of Wausau, and we didn't have enough space to do it. So we could only do a half a block. And people thought, a half a block, what are you going to get for that? It's turned out pretty well. And we've had a lot of good things happen on that plaza.
Absolutely. Hey, again, we love being the partner in that venture as well, helping that succeed down there in Marshfield. And again, Steve, always appreciate the time. We'll look forward to chatting again in the near future.
Sounds great, Mike. I always appreciate it too. Have a great one.
You too.